Good morning. So I started this YouTube channel a couple of months ago with the intention of doing a monthly video sharing my garden throughout the year. Things didn't quite work out like that because I've been very unwell. So I'm autistic and ADHD, and I've been in a period of really severe burnout since, well, for a long time, but really severely since December of last year. Haven't worked since December last year and it's now August. And I've had really severe periods of total shutdown. So gardening has looked very different this year to how it would normally look. I adore gardening. I love being outside. I don't like being inside. I'm not made for the inside, and I can easily be outside the vast majority of the day. But these periods of shutdown, I'm almost totally catatonic, so I can hardly move. So I've been totally inside for those times, which is very strange for an outside person. So these bouts of shutdown have lasted maybe a month, nearly always a month each time. So this year I've had periods of a month gardening, a month not gardening, which, if you're a gardener, you will know is a struggle potentially for the garden, especially in the hot weather we've been having in the UK this summer. Dry throat. So it is 6:30 in the morning. I am sitting in my yoga/potting shed with clover tea, clover from my lawn. And this is really the first official video of the channel, but things are changing very much in Wild Root because my whole life is changing. I'm not going to tell you the whole story right now because it will take a very long time, but basically I'm not going to be here in this house and on this land for much longer at all. So I am going to show you my garden today, but this isn't where I'm going to be long term. So I will be doing a garden through the year, but it won't be this garden. It's going to be somewhere else. So, let me first tell you a little bit about this place. So I am in Crawleyside, which is on the hills in the North Pennines, near Stanhope in Weardale, about halfway up the Pennines, so County Durham. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll show you the view from here in a minute. Stunning. So I'm 1,000 feet up, which presents its challenges, shall we say. That not so much the elevation actually, but the wind, the fucking wind. So this view now is a clear, uninterrupted view, which for the view is awesome. But there is no block from the wind. I mean, it feels like from the Arctic. It's actually from Cumbria, so Alston is that way, which is the head of this valley, and Alston sits between County Durham, Northumberland and Cumbria. We get a lot of wind. We get a lot of wind, and that's my main issue on my plot. It's so exposed, and it means I have to be very careful how I grow, what I grow, and where I grow it. The other challenge is my garden is on a very steep slope. It'll be quite hard, I think, to show you on the video quite how steep, but it's steep. So when I moved in 3.25 years ago, I've been here since May, whenever that was, 3.25 years ago, maths, 23, then it was just grass. My landlady is a just grass person, not a gardener. So I started the process of terracing, which in a rented property was an undertaking that I was willing to undertake because I wanted to grow. And I don't regret it for a second, but it's been a lot of work. It's been the only way that I could have done it on this land. And it's been worth it for 3.5 years, but actually I think it takes about 3 years to really settle into a place land-wise. Obviously in terms of crop rotation it's often 3 years, but just in terms of getting used to a place, permaculture principle is to, the first principle of permaculture, and my favourite, is to observe. Number one, observation. And the idea is that when you acquire fall in love with a piece of land than you observe for one whole year before you touch. Challenge, especially if you have ADHD. So I didn't do that with this land because I'm very impatient and I wanted food and flowers. But I did observe for a while. But yeah, sorry, brain. 3 years really to fully settle bed into a place, and now I'm moving on. But that's fine, I'm moving somewhere magical. So yes, I have the challenges of elevation, wind, exposure, and the terrain, the topography, steep. So I'm going to show you the plot. I'm going to do you a little tour. This is going to be the first. So it's now, I think, the 7th of August. Sorry, it's a loud road. One of the in fact, the only downside really of this house for me has been it's by a quite a main road. It's actually on the C2C cycle route from Cumbria to the coast at Newcastle. What was I saying? Yeah, so this is the first video of here, so it's early August. I don't know exactly how much longer I'm going to be here, probably a couple more months. So I will do more videos from here, but then I'm going to be showing you somewhere new. I studied permaculture 10 years ago at Abundant Earth, County Durham, near Durham City. It's a really beautiful permaculture base. Wilf Richards led the permaculture course. My best friend had just died and given me a huge amount of money, bless her. And oh, there's a bird on the water bath. Yeah, she gave me a huge amount of money. So she died at the age of 43 of cancer, bowel cancer. She was an incredible woman, Muriel Cavaille, French. Marvellous woman, artist, and yeah, awesome person. She left me a huge amount of money, which was incredible. So 10 years ago, I was 10 years younger than her. I was 33, she was 43. And I used this money for all sorts of things, but one of the things was to study more. I love to learn. I normally love to learn by myself. I don't like being told things. But this course was very interactive or involved, like it was hands-on learning, which suits me. So yeah, I studied at Abundant Earth in Durham. And at the time I took the course because I wanted to delve more into growing, how we grow. I didn't know anything about permaculture when I took the course. I just wanted to learn more about how to garden, how to grow. Wilf's permaculture course is really philosophical. He's an incredible guy, very broad, and really applies permaculture as it was intended originally, very broadly, to be not just about growing but as a system for living, for life, a philosophy. So permaculture is an abbreviation of permanent agriculture, but actually it's I think it might be a cult. It's a whole way of thinking, a whole belief system. And I'll talk more about it maybe as I go around the garden. But at the time I was kind of, I'm sorry to say, Wilf, and I think I've already said this to you, a bit disappointed because there was less about growing than I'd wanted. It was very philosophically focused. And at the time I wasn't that interested because I wanted to know how to grow. But the way my brain works is I don't ever forget anything. That's not true. I don't forget anything important. So everything I learn, my brain held on to these past 10 years. And just the past few months actually has been dripping in, coming back because it applies to my life now. And it's doing things, it's doing amazing things. So thank you so much, Wilf. I've said thank you, but thank you again. you planted seeds. You planted seeds which are bearing fruit now, 10 years later, which is incredible. So yeah, I'm going to stop whittering, and I'm going to show you around the plot. So this is the view that I was looking at when I was talking to you just now. Sitting in my armchair in my potting shed. So that's looking almost due west, slightly southwest, towards Alston. So the houses on the hill over there, they're kind of towards Eastgate. So Stanhope's just down the bottom of the hill from here, about 10 minutes walk. So this is my little potting shelf where I stand to look out of this stunning window, and if it's a rainy day I might be working in here. That'll do, won't it? That'll do for a view. So all my seeds and bits. This is my plan for my garden this year on the wall. So I have all my pots, loads and loads and loads of pots which are going to come useful in the future. I'm very glad that I'm not a minimalist. I'm most definitely a maximalist. I keep things. This is my broad bean harvest this year. Isn't it bountiful? Broad beans did terribly, so I'm keeping these for seeds for next year. So all my pots and stuff. Cornflowers drying for selling this autumn and winter. Armchair with a view. Get back far enough. This is a photo my dad took. It's of the Jardin Majorelle in Morocco, which I've never been to, and I would love to go to because look at the blue of that fountain. It's worth going to Morocco for the blue of that fountain. So yeah, typical shed mess, all sorts of bits and bobs, all my tools, ladder, all that kind of stuff. First sack of potatoes. Planted shallots and King Edwards this year, and I've done pretty well. Excuse the knickers. Hanging up to dry. So this, we get loads of midges up here, so this is to put across for in the evenings for when the midges are out in full force. Okay, I'm going to show you outside. This is my wee terrace. So it's about 7 o'clock now, and the sun's not popped over the hill yet. It's definitely August, not June. Feels strange after having all this time away. I've been at my parents' when I've been unwell in Northumberland. So, shed from the outside, I haven't finished painting it yet. I need to do that before I leave. So it was horrible brown, is now gorgeous willow green. So my house, it's weird, the house isn't attached to the garden. That's my house. And I get to the garden via this path. So this is my neighbour's garden. So my garden starts from my shed there. So I have a water butt, which is not a water butt, it's a plunge pool. On a hot day, I get my ladder, I get a gin, and I get in my plunge pool. And it's awesome. This is where things go to die. This is the graveyard. So the peony, which all my pots, nearly all my pots I lost. So when I've been away, my neighbour, bless her, has been watering, but I purposely didn't ask her because it's such a big job. So I didn't tell her what needed doing. So I have lost pretty much everything that was in pots. So peony thankfully didn't totally die, and peony, this is the time to water and feed peonies for next year. So although the foliage is dying back, it's getting fed and watered for next year. That's where my bulbs go. And I'll lift them. I mean, I should have lifted them already, but you know, that was a bay tree. I was seeing if it's going to come back, but it's not. So 3 trees that I got as birthday presents for my 44th birthday this year. So an apple tree, La Reine I think it is, gorgeous blossom, and 2 cherries. the three I purposely chose to be super hardy and really tolerant of wind. So this cherry and this cherry, I can't remember the which cherries they are, but they're some kind of Japanese strong cherry. I have a climber, it's a passion flower, and some lavender, which has been here for years in a totally wrong place, and I moved it this year and it's really revived. It's really happy. So loads of valerian growing naturally, which I will harvest the roots and use for valerian tea. Perfect little dinner spot. So this was full of pots and everything was dead pretty much. My rosemary survived. Rosemary is a Mediterranean plant, so it can cope with drought, and some sedum survived, but I lost everything else. Yeah. Oh, the mint survived just about. So I have water butts here collecting water. We put this on top to keep the midges, well, it doesn't help the midges at all actually, but it's more to help like so little birds don't fall in when they're fledging. So it's very higgledy-piggledy, so this is a little path going to my main plot. So this little bit here I have flowers for cutting. So cosmos, got this bit wasn't watered at all, so it's absolutely fantastic that this has survived. Cosmos, these things would be much further on if I'd been here to water them. So lupins, which will be for next year, gorgeous zinnias, asters, got some thingamajig daisies, what are they called? Those ones, can't remember, and they'll come out when the sun comes out, but the sun is going to pop up here in a little while. Yeah, asters on their way. Really beautiful zinnias. Peach is my favourite colour, so I go for always my favourite colours. This cosmos, it's a kind of lemony yellow, not lemony, like a pale yellow. Isn't it gorgeous? And I love the frilly cosmos. Sweet peas has been a whole thing. So I have been, this is my third round of trying sweet peas this year. Because I was away, I'd left everything in my house under grow lights, but obviously wasn't watered for a month. Surprisingly, loads did survive, but not the sweet peas. So I've planted sweet peas again in August. Depending on what the weather does the next couple of months, I might get some, I might not, but I thought I might as well try. So they're in the back to grow up the fence. Random pot of strawberries. This, interestingly, really interestingly for me, is my Hügelkultur bed. Hügelkultur, Hillkultur in German. So it's a pile of logs with loads of little sticks and twigs and garden waste and compost on top. And the idea is over time that'll rot down and have loads of amazing nutrients in it. So I just did that this spring, so it's a new one. I've used the gradient of the hill, so it doesn't look, if it was on the flat it would be like a kind of hill, but because I've used the gradient of the hill as well, it looks slightly different. So I've got pumpkin and courgette growing on that, which will really benefit from the nutrients as everything rots down. A random tomato that I rescued, I just popped up somewhere, so I popped it in there. Probably won't get any fruit, but you know. Nasturtiums, which will trail down. So none of this was watered, all of this has survived, and it survived because it had really good compost. A whole month in August, you know, like we've had 30-degree heat for weeks on end, and it survived, which is amazing. And it's because it's good compost, it's got loads of nutrients in. I mean, pumpkins and courgettes are thirsty, and the fact that they survived is incredible. So we've got some yellow courgettes on their way. I mean, yeah, granted it's August and I should have got courgettes by now, but they've survived. A pumpkin on its way. So yeah, I'm moving and I'm debating whether I take this with me or just start again in the new place. See what my landlady feels about it. So this is actually my neighbour's garden. It's also random. She's just built a gorgeous shed this year. So she's got her raised beds. So my plot is, I'm going to go and stand on this roof so that you can see it from far away. Whoop. How's that for a view? So yeah, this is to get like the layout of it. So this is my garden, starting from where you can see the hugel bed up to the top there. So yeah, you really can't see how steep it is. It's much steeper than it looks. Okay. So I'm going to go around in the way that I normally walk around it in the morning to do my morning inspection. So, one of the permaculture principles is to use boundaries. And so my boundary line here, my fence, which has got poles and netting up, is a pre-existing sweet pea climber fence, and it wasn't built for that. It was actually built to keep my dog, when my dog was alive, to keep her from killing the cats. But of course it's also fantastic for growing things up. So here I've got my raspberries. I've got some yellow raspberries. I like to grow things which you can't get in shops. So these are coming now. They're autumn raspberries, so they're perfect. They weren't watered, they survived. Just planted some sweet peas in here, see if they'll come up. I have one sweet pea survived. Bless it. How gorgeous is that colour? Yeah, so we've got some raspberries on their way. I have two little greenhouses here which are secured to the fence because of the wind. So we get strong westerly winds blasting. So I have, these weren't watered at all. Cucumbers, so they're not tall because they weren't watered, but they survived in a greenhouse for a month in August, which is just incredible. We've got two little cucumbers coming, and then got some flowers there. They'll come away now that I'm feeding and watering them. And I have two tomatoes in here, a Sungold super sweet and a heritage variety. I can't remember what that one is. They're tiny for August. I mean, Sungold is mini anyway. I've got some fruit coming. That's supposed to be a small plant. This one will be a big plant, and it will still come away. It'll be fine now that I'm looking after it. Got some basil growing at the bottom. And then this is my bean bed. So I've just harvested my broad beans, just pulled those. So I've got runner beans coming. I love runner bean flowers. Aren't they gorgeous? The colour of them. So I just planted some more beans yesterday. I've got some French beans. Look, some cute little dark. I love the purple beans. I just planted some more beans yesterday. They should come fine if we still get nice weather. So that'll be all full of beans growing up here. Full of beans. My Virginia creeper. So it's early August and this looks like an autumn Virginia creeper. How stunning are those leaves. Because this also wasn't watered at all, so it's gone into its autumn state. But look, I have new growth. So I've had this Virginia creeper for years and years and years. It's moved house with me. I've had it for about 10 years. So eventually that will go into the ground in my next place. Got some crocosmia here, which nearly died, and now it's coming back to life, and I've got some flowers on their way. This is the red one. What's it called? Hot something. So then I normally go this way. So this bed is my kind of nursery bed and biennial bed. Got a random daisy that just grew here, and I thought, yes, you can grow there. Planted itself. So this bed, I'm so delighted, and this really proves that you shouldn't weed, because everything in here, this wasn't watered, everything has survived because there's no bare earth. So you can see there's dandelions in there, there's a bit of grass in there. There's things I didn't plant, and if that had been bare earth, all of this would have been dead. But I've got Achillea coming, Achillea. Got this one, and I've got a pale pink one. Only one flower right now, but there's loads more coming. My Sweet Williams were last year's, so I've had some Sweet Williams, and I've got more to come. Again, they would be dead if I had bare earth. I've got some gorgeous little violas, which are very happy, so they're all edible flowers for salads. One random poppy with a lovely seed head, so I'll keep the seeds for next year. So I might share at the end, like, I'll go back to the plan in the shed and show you the plan so you can see how it fits together. But basically, just show you from back here. So this bit of the garden is almost flat, this bottom bit. The first couple of meters are nearly flat, and then it starts to get steep very quickly from there. So this bottom bit isn't an issue for hill, so that's where the flowers go. From then on is where I started terracing. So 3.5 years ago, this was just totally grass. The whole thing was grass. I've got my flat bit at the bottom, so 2 beds. I do totally no dig, so that was all cardboard and compost. Then I have swales and berms. So a swale and a berm is you dig a ditch. So I've got this ditch here, and you pile the earth up on the downside of the hill, and the idea is that you're storing water and you're stopping the bottom bit from getting flooded. Floods aren't really an issue here. At the moment the issue is drought. So the ditch catches the water, it feeds, you put your fruit trees, so I've got gooseberries and currants, you put your fruit trees on the berm, the hilly bit, and they get fed by everything, all the water that's coming down the hill. And they're really thirsty, so they get fed, and that's awesome. And then in my swale, I've got borage, because it loves water, and I've got comfrey, which has gone to seed. So the comfrey also loves the water. Ideally, you'd have a lot more comfrey, and I would use that for comfrey tea. So I've got 2 of those, 2 swales and berms. And then go back to here, and then I've terraced the next layer, and I've done kind of a raised bed, but that's just only the front bit of a raised bed, just to stop it falling down the hill. So again, all no dig, so cardboard and compost. I haven't dug any grass away. So this bed, this is a really interesting example of what works in drought. So got my strawberries, they survived, even though they're really, really thirsty, they still survived. This is parsley, which I've let go to seed because I want to keep the seed for next year. If I'd not let it go to seed, it would still be producing more leaf. The leaf is a little bit tough now because it's gone to seed. The strawberries were protected by the parsley, which is why they've done so well, because they've had something kind of sheltering them. This bit hasn't been so happy because it's not nearly dense enough. You can see there's loads of bare soil, and therefore my chard is not very happy. It's only tiny. It's coming away now that I'm watering it, but it's, yeah, you can see it's got new leaves, but they should be much bigger, and because there's so much earth, they've just dried out. So I've got all sorts of random bits. I'm letting things come naturally, so I'm letting this feverfew come, I'm letting forget-me-nots come, I'm letting this euphorbia come, planted calendula, basil, parsley, coriander, dill. So it's herbs and calendula and chard. So this is like this is the perfect example of why we shouldn't weed. So next, which way should I go? This way. This was my potato bed, just dug my potatoes. So now I've put flower seed in, so that's got larkspur and stocks in it, just planted yesterday. This is one of my favourite bits. This is my wildflower heart. So in the spring I have tete-a-tete in there, so in the spring tete-a-tete come through. And then I have, what's it called? What's the natural ammi, like not carrot flower, the tall white frothy thing? Cow parsley. Cow parsley in the spring. And I've just popped some cosmos in, just cause. So, next level of terracing. This is the top now. So this bit's really steep. This was nearly all dead. This didn't get watered at all. Somehow my freckledy lettuce has survived. I'm delighted. My leeks are tiny, but they survived. The celeriac was fine. No problems with celeriac because it's a root vegetable. Got some, I think, endives. They're coming away. This courgette I've just popped in. Obviously, I am getting some fruit coming. It should be much bigger by this time of year, but it's survived, which is awesome. Loads of better, so I'm just about to plant some Chinese cabbage, some radishes because they grow quickly, and then that bit will get filled up nicely. So, let's go this way. This is my brassica bit, so I've got Brussels sprouts, which I won't be here to eat. So the next people will have some lovely Brussels sprouts for Christmas. And kale, and I love kale. Eat it every day. In this bed I have just planted poppies. This is my compost. I could talk about compost all day. I'm going to make a separate compost video. This is my composting area. Gooseberry bush, which was here when I moved in. So I'm going climbers up my boundary. So we've got a clematis with some buds coming. That was nearly dead. It's a lovely deep purple clematis. A honeysuckle which has totally gone to seed very early because of drought. Perennial sweet pea survived. How gorgeous, and got loads of seed heads, so I'm going to collect the seed for next year. My hammock, elder tree, and I let the nettles come underneath, which I use for nettle tea. I use the new shoots for salads. I use the seeds for eating. This bed is my dahlia gladioli bed, but I also let wild things come. So I've got mustard, garlic mustard, natural poppies, wild poppies, wild daisy. This is wild, but I planted it. It's Devil's Bit scabious from Teesdale, but I planted the seeds. But they come from just over the hill. I've got finally dahlias coming really late. It's August and it's only just coming, but they will come away now. They're getting some water. I had foxgloves in there. I'm just leaving the seed heads to plant themselves for the next people. So these are gorgeous wild little orange poppies. They're so cute. I don't love orange, but I actually love the combination of that orange with the purple. I don't like orange or purple, but I think that combination is awesome. I've planted a white rambler to ramble up my elder, but it's going to come with me. I love roses rambling and ambling through trees. I've got a little hedgehog house in there because we have hedgehogs. So these elderberries will soon be elderberry syrup. Last little bit, so I got my washing line. Oh, the sun's coming. Yes, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a hammocky kind of a day. Yeah, last bit is the only bit I've got perennials in is this top bed here. So this is the only bit I dug, and you can't tell because it's full of flowers, but I dug a wave-shaped bed. So I've got another perennial sweet pea, which is all gone to seed now. And then this bed is mostly perennials. A couple of annuals I've popped in. I've put that cosmos in. A lot of this looks like autumn because it wasn't watered. So lots of foxgloves that were gorgeous in spring. I've got sedums coming. They're fine. They can cope for ages with no water. They're really happy. Got some salvia which has gone to seed. brambles. So the brambles had planted themselves in the ground, so I've had to I purposefully don't cut the brambles back because I want brambles. I want fruit. But yeah, you can't leave it for too long because it'll plant itself into the ground. So I've got all of those up and onto the fence going up. So I've got Astrantia. Doesn't that look like October Astrantia? I've got some geraniums gone to seed. I've got Bistorte. The Bistorte's coming back. And my hollyhocks are very happy. How gorgeous are they? So got my seed heads, so I'm going to collect seed for next year. Yeah. And that's it. So that's the garden tour. And the sun is just coming. So the sun rises there behind that tree. And it's about 7:15 now. Oh no, it can't. Diane's leaving, so it must be just before 7. It's just before 7. Oh, I didn't tell you about the cornflowers. Yeah. So the cornflowers I was actually growing for I was gonna have a ceremony in October. We're not together anymore, which is more than a bit sad. So the flowers I was growing, obviously the colours I wanted anyway, and the flowers were deep red, this gorgeous deep red, nearly black, for my partner. And the peach of the zinnias was for me, and the white was for both of us. So I've got Amy. Very little of the Amy actually germinated, it's not got much Amy, so this bed is just Amy and cornflowers. And the beautiful thing is, all these cornflowers weren't watered at all. Cornflowers can really cope with drought. But I just scattered seed. I had not planted thoroughly. I'd scattered Amy. No, I planted the Amy here purposefully in a line, but I'd scattered cornflowers and zinnias, which is obviously a stupid thing to do because zinnias are much shorter than cornflowers. But because I had the zinnias in here, they survived. And because they were protected by the cornflowers, so then I could dig the zinnias up and put them in the other bed, and now they're all happy. So just goes to show weeding is a waste of time. So I'm going to stop now because I've been talking apparently for 27 minutes, which is really quite a long time. I've got a hoarse throat and I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. Thanks for watching. Forget something, I wanted to talk about grass. So I think grass is a total waste of time and space and effort, and a waste of growing space, and crazy, and it's a monoculture, and I could talk for hours about lawns and how stupid they are. Suffice it to say, I have as little grass as possible in my plot because I want to grow food and flowers. It's a pain to look after because of how steep it is, and I've got a really heavy, unwieldy lawnmower. But I want to talk about lawns and drought. So my lovely neighbour, bless her, cut my lawn for me because it was getting really, really overgrown. I purposefully don't cut my lawn much at all. I don't cut it at all until the end of May. And then I tend to do it on a very high cut, not more than once a month. This bottom bit didn't get cut, and this bottom bit, as you can see, is lovely and green. It got cut from where it's brown. So if I'd been here, I wouldn't have cut it because it didn't need cutting, because we've had a massive drought and it's gone really horrible, and brown just looks really ugly to me. It's burnt away, it's not dead, it's going to come back. But because it's so short, it didn't have any resilience and it's died off. So if it had been left like this, it would be lovely and green. So I'm very grateful to her for looking after it for me, but it just goes to show, number one, what a waste of space a lawn is, how ugly it gets if you keep it short. And, well, yeah, those are the things. Get rid of lawn, grow food.